Now let's talk about a man who had a phenomenal performance on Saturday. How about this man, Wonderboy Thompson? Great win over Vicente Luque. Congratulations, Steven. How are you?
Feeling good, man. Just little broken up a little bit, little bruised up, but I'm feeling all right, man. Especially coming home with the W, it always puts a smile on my face.
When you say broken, do you mean actual broken bones?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I broke both my hands.
Wow.
Broke this knuckle here on Vicente's head, and my front knuckle here. Got the professional clump hands going on.
Wow.
But yeah, man. I mean, he's tough. I did that. I remember going out of the second round and letting my coaches know that my hands are definitely broken. So third round, I threw them anyway. So wanted to go out there and put on a good show for the fans and come home with that W. Try to put them away. So I had to let the hands fly.
In your great career, have you ever had a situation where you broke both hands in a fight?
Actually, the fight against Masvidal, I ended up breaking both my thumbs in the first round, and I had to finish both the second and third round with broken thumbs. But that's the only time. I've never broken my hands before. Me being a old school karate guy, we do a lot of hand conditioning. Ever since I was a little kid. So first time I've actually broken my hands goes to show how tough Vicente Luque and how he's got a skull of granite for sure.
I don't know if you recognize this, but your win over Masvidal was exactly 2 years ago today, and it's amazing to see how much has happened in those 2 years, right? And I'm wondering, you being on the main card, but under him, and seeing how big he became, was that kind of weird for you? Like, you beat the guy 2 years ago, MSG, and then he disappears, and now he's become this massive star. Was it weird for you to be under him, considering the fact that you won just 2 years ago against him?
You know what? That is kind of crazy for sure. I mean, wow, 2 years ago,
Yeah,
you use UFC 217 at Madison Square Garden. That's pretty crazy. I'm fighting on the undercard of this guy.
yeah.
To me, that's kind of inspirational. After beating him and me just getting knocked out by Anthony Pettis, knowing that if I, come back and I put the work in, good, some good wins in, I could be back over the top of the game, maybe fight for the title again this time next year.
And so one of my big questions going into the fight was, anytime you see someone get knocked out for the first time, you wonder how they're going to respond, especially someone who comes from a striking background. Will they be a little tentative, a little gun shy? It didn't seem like that was the case at all with you. In fact, you seemed very aggressive, like that was not a part of your psyche at all. Deep down, though, like behind the scenes, could you tell us, were you doubting yourself? Were you a little more nervous considering how the last fight went?
Yeah, of course, everything pops in your head when you're walking out to the octagon. Being in the back in the hotel room leading up to the fight, you got these things that pop in your head, like, man, is your head still the same? You're not getting any younger. I know that for sure. But once I have those things pop in my head, I kind of filter those out, put game plan in there, put positive things in there, and try and keep my mind off those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So because if you sit there and dwell on them a lot, it can definitely affect you negatively in the situation, the fight. So you know what, I blocked all that out. I went out there, ready to die, basically, like a lot of these other fighters say. I'm just I didn't want to be hesitant. I wanted to go out there and take it to him and kind of see if I can put this guy away, some guy who's never been put away before. Didn't go that way, but I was definitely happy with my performance.
Because he is a younger guy on a winning streak and you've been around, you fought for the belt, did you feel like this was one of those fights where they were trying to like build him off of your name and you were like, nah, not tonight. It's not going to happen tonight?
Well, I think that's what he was thinking. I don't know if the UFC was thinking that, but he called me out after his fight with Mike Perry, which was an impressive fight. Could have gone both ways, but I think that Mike Perry's nose definitely turned the judge's eyes towards Vicente Luque. But he called me out. I was in his shoes not too long ago, not ranked, moving up the rankings, trying to fight somebody in the top five. I remember trying to get fights with Jake Ellenberger, Johnny Hendricks, and I wasn't even ranked at the time. So I was in his shoes. So you know what? I gave him the opportunity, but I knew deep down, like, this guy, I'm not giving up my spot. I'm not going to allow this guy to move up and take my place for sure. So he's a young guy, man, and tough as nails. Lord have mercy. So it's like he's got a lot of time ahead of him. And I told him that after the fight. I was like, listen, man, you're young. You're 27. I'll be 37 in February. You got plenty of time. I definitely will be seeing you probably fight for the title here pretty soon. So yeah, man, it wasn't the fact that the UFC was building him up. I think he was trying to make a name. He was trying to work his way up the rankings, like I did in the past.
You're around martial arts, combat sports every day, every hour. That's what your family is all about. You got the school and everything. And I'm just wondering, after the Pettis fight, did you feel like you needed some time off? Did you take a break from martial arts, or did you really just go back in there? Whether it was, not training, but, helping kids, teaching kids, things like that, or did you feel like you needed a bit of a break from that?
Oh no, I was in there literally the next day,
Wow.
back in the school teaching classes.
Wow. That is
It's funny, man, because it's the kids say the darndest things. They're coming to class like, Mr. Steven, I saw you fight and I saw you get knocked out, man. I'm like, shut up, kid. No, I didn't say that, but but they say that, man. They definitely keep you humble for sure.
What about the fact that the UFC was in your home state, South Carolina, like minutes away from where you live, and you couldn't fight on that card back in June? What did that do to you? How difficult was that?
It was definitely hard. It was hard to say no to my family, hard to say no to the UFC that I wasn't going to be on that card. Me and my dad worked really hard to try and get them to come to South Carolina. It's a great venue. A lot of fans here in South Carolina, but wasn't able to make it. But I was there, not in the octagon. I was definitely there cage side. And hopefully hopefully we'll get them to come back some other time, and I'll be able to headline that. But it was definitely heartbreaking for sure. A lot of people were disappointed.
Do you think you'll need surgery on your hands?
I hope not. I'm literally praying that I do not have to have surgery on my hands. Maybe not so much this one, but this one here, I can kind of feel that the knuckles kind of back a little bit. So keeping my fingers crossed. I've met a few guys with some broken hands and didn't have surgery on it, and they got where the knuckles are kind of sunk into the hand. I definitely don't want that. I want my hands back to where they were before. Maybe after my fight career, I can be one of those hand models. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. But
I hope not. I hope not.
How are you walking around without it in a cast right now?
Oh my goodness, I definitely took some leg shots for sure. Those little calf kicks early off, I felt them a little bit, but they didn't scare me at all. I checked a lot of them, and I know going into the fights, most guys are going to want to kick my legs to try and slow me down. So a lot of leg conditioning, a lot of shin conditioning. Yes, it's hard to walk, but that's part of the game. And after every battle, I always have some kind of injury, nagging injury. But to be honest with you, I love it. I love that feeling after a battle, man. And you got these wounds. It lets you know you're alive. You put everything in to preparing for the fight. You went out there and gave it all during the fight, and these are the rewards that you get.
It's an amazing thing. Well, now, are you going to go get it checked out today? The hands?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the plan. So we talked to the UFC docs. We want to, got to get X-rays on my hands. I think my left leg, and see where we go from there. So hopefully I won't have to have surgery. Definitely keeping my fingers crossed for sure.
Okay. Well, it was great to see you back in there in the winner's circle, getting your hand raised again. Great comeback fight again. I guess there's always questions after a knockout loss, but man, you put all those questions to bed. I mean, it was just an amazing performance against a really tough guy, like you said, in Vicente Luque. And I loved what you said about him afterwards as well in the cage. Always very gracious and humble in victory and defeat. So keep doing your thing, my man. Always great to have you on the show, Steven. We appreciate it. And I hope for your sake you won't need surgery and you heal up very soon.
My brother, I appreciate it, my friend. Always a pleasure, Ariel Helwani, and all the fans out there. I appreciate it, guys.
Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.